Making headlines in health news tonight, sinus infections are the worst. You get the pressure in your head, you get a runny nose, and millions of people are diagnosed every year.
Absolutely. There's a surgery now that's growing more popular in the Roanoke Valley, providing relief. 10 News anchor Jenna Zipton went to find out how it all works.
Wendy Wood struggled with sinus issues for years.
I couldn't taste anything, I couldn't breathe, it was just really hard to exercise.
But after a simple procedure, she ran her first 5K with her son.
A lot of people suffer with sinus disease, and they go in and have antibiotics 5, 6, 7 times a year, and they don't know that there's an alternative. Are you feeling any discomfort?
No, sir.
Dr. Paul Linkowski does the balloon sinuplasty procedure in his Roanoke office. Your face is numb as he goes inside your nose with a small camera, putting a tiny balloon inside the sinus opening, breaking the bone to make that opening bigger.
No pressure. All right, inflate slowly.
Patients told us they don't feel anything.
Did it hurt?
No, it's like just weird to hear it cracking.
In this surgery, the opening started at 1 to 2 millimeters and open to 6 millimeters.
Inflate slowly. It allows people to have less pressure in their head, fewer sinus infections, and then if they do get a cold and then have a viral sinus infection, it tends to go away much faster and they have many fewer symptoms. So now we're looking up with a 30-degree scope.
It's an alternative to traditional sinus surgery, where you have to be put to sleep. Dr. Linkowski says the results are the same, but you spend less money and heal faster.
And because we're not cutting tissue, there's less recovery. In the past, we'd have to go in afterwards and break up scar tissue or remove packing.
For Wood, who had the surgery 2 months ago, it's been life-changing.
I've been able to get out and enjoy the outdoors and do walking and running.
Linkowski says he still does sinus surgery in the OR when it's needed. He's traveled across the country studying other people's procedures, bringing it back to Roanoke so he can do most procedures in his office instead of the OR, saving you a lot of money. Jenna Zipton, 10 News, working for you.